You've seen it 100 times. The ears drop, the head lowers, the eyes go soft and slide away from yours, and you think, he knows what he did. But here's the strange part. Researchers have tested that exact moment, and what they found flips the whole thing upside down. Because that look you're reading as guilt, it's often strongest in dogs who did absolutely nothing wrong. So if it isn't guilt, what is it? The answer is actually far more interesting than an apology, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your dog the same way again. Let's start with the signal you've been misreading your entire life. 1. They lower their head and look away from you. Back in 2009, a researcher named Alexandra Horowitz at Barnard College in New York ran an experiment that should be required viewing for every dog owner. She filmed dogs alone with a forbidden treat. Some ate it, some didn't. Then she brought the owners back in, and here's the clever part. Sometimes she told the owner the truth, sometimes she lied. The results were brutal for our egos. Whether the dog had actually eaten the treat made almost no difference to how guilty it looked. What predicted the guilty look was whether the owner scolded. And the most uncomfortable finding of all, the dogs who looked the guiltiest were often the innocent ones who got scolded anyway. Read that again. The hangdog face isn't a confession, it's a response to you. So what is your dog actually doing? Behaviorists call it appeasement, averting the eyes, dropping the head, flattening the ears, going small. In dog language, a direct stare is a threat. Breaking eye contact and shrinking your body is the opposite of a threat. It's a dog saying, "I'm not challenging you. Please stand down." And that matters because it means your dog is not processing the past, it's managing the present. It's trying to stop the tension in the room right now before it escalates. And stay with me, because later in this video, I'll get to the signal that looks almost nothing like an apology, but is the closest thing to one that science has actually documented. Most owners walk right past it. 2. The lip lick and the yawn. Watch your dog closely the next time your voice gets sharp. There's usually a fast little flick of the tongue across the nose. Maybe a yawn that comes out of nowhere when the dog isn't remotely tired. Most people don't register these at all. They're too small and too quick. But the Norwegian trainer Turid Rugaas spent decades cataloging them, and she called them calming signals. Yawning, nose licking, turning the head away, sniffing the ground for no reason, slowing down. Her count runs to roughly 30 distinct signals, and some dogs have a much richer vocabulary than others. Now, I want to be honest with you here, because the internet usually isn't. Not every scientist agrees that dogs deploy these deliberately to calm you down. Some researchers read them simply as stress signs leaking out of an uncomfortable animal. But either way, the practical meaning for you is identical. That lip lick is your dog telling you it is not okay right now. And here's Rugaas's warning that almost nobody repeats. If you punish a dog for signaling, if the yawn or the look away gets met with more shouting, some dogs stop signaling altogether. And a dog that has stopped telling you it's uncomfortable is a dog whose next warning might be a much louder one. 3. They lick your hands and your face. Your dog climbs into your lap after a tense moment and starts licking your fingers, your wrist, your chin. It feels like affection, and it is. But the origin of that behavior is stranger than you'd guess. Wolf pups lick the muzzles of returning adults to trigger regurgitation. It's a food request. Over thousands of generations, that begging gesture got repurposed into something social. It became a greeting. It became appeasement. A smaller or nervous canine licking at the muzzle of a bigger one is essentially saying, "I'm the puppy here, you're the adult, we're fine." Your dog is a domesticated wolf running that ancient program on your face. When it licks your hand after you've raised your voice, it is reaching for the oldest peace gesture its species has, one that predates humans entirely. And if your dog has ever done this and you brushed it off, hit that like button and subscribe. There are millions of owners missing this exact moment every single day. 4. They roll over and show you their belly. This one gets misread more than any other signal on this list, and the misreading actually causes harm. You scold your dog, and it flops onto its back. Belly up, legs loose, throat exposed. Every instinct you have says, rub it. So you reach in. And sometimes the dog stiffens, or freezes, or, in the worst cases, snaps. Here's what happened. A belly roll can mean two completely different things. It can be a relaxed, wriggling invitation from a happy dog, or it can be passive appeasement, an animal exposing the most vulnerable part of its body specifically to prove it isn't a threat. The difference is in the rest of the body. An inviting dog is loose, wiggly, mouth soft, tail sweeping. An appeasing dog is stiff, tail tucked tight, mouth closed. And often you'll see what trainers call whale eye, the whites of the eyes showing as the dog tracks you sideways without turning its head. Reaching into that second version isn't accepting an apology. It's putting your hand into the middle of a de-escalation gesture. The dog offered vulnerability, and you touched it. What should you do instead? Almost nothing. Soften your face. Turn your body slightly sideways so you're not looming. Drop your voice. Let the moment cool. That's it. Doing less is the correct answer far more often than people expect. 5. They bring you something. A shoe, a ball, a sock they've been guarding for a week. It lands at your feet at the exact moment the room feels wrong. I want to be straight with you because this is where a lot of dog content invents research that doesn't exist. There is no controlled study proving that dogs bring objects as an apology. What we do have is the interpretation of experts like Stanley Coren at the University of British Columbia, who describes this as offering behavior. It's an invitation. It's a bid for attention. It's a way of restarting the interaction using something the dog knows has worked before. And think about the logic from the dog's side. Something has gone wrong between you. It cannot explain itself. It cannot say sorry. So it reaches for the one currency it has, the thing that has reliably made you happy in the past, and it puts that in front of you. It isn't guilt. It's a repair attempt, made with the only tools available. 6. They follow you around the house in complete silence. This is the one I promised you. Not the toy, not the belly, not the guilty face. This one. Something tense happens, and then, without a sound, your dog is just there. Kitchen, hallway, outside the bathroom door. Not whining, not pawing, not asking for anything. Just quietly closing the distance and waiting. Because here's what the research actually found. When scientists set up an experiment where owners scolded their dogs, then measured what the dogs did next, the dogs didn't withdraw. They moved toward the person who scolded them. Closer proximity, more gazing, tail wagging. Combined with those small appeasement signals, the averted eyes, the low tail, the lip licks. That's a documented pattern in animal behavior called reconciliation. It shows up in wolves, in primates, and yes, in domestic dogs. And it does something specific. It reduces uncertainty. After a conflict, the crucial question in a social animal's mind isn't, "Am I forgiven?" It's, "Are we still okay?" Proximity answers that question without a single sound. And if it feels familiar, it should. Think about the last real argument you had with someone you love. Often, nobody makes a speech. One of you just ends up in the same room again, making coffee, existing nearby. Presence doing the work that words couldn't. Your dog is running the same strategy. So let's put it together. Your dog is not apologizing, not the way a person does. It almost certainly isn't sitting there replaying the chewed shoe and feeling ashamed. But it is doing something arguably more remarkable. It is reading your tone, your posture, even the chemical shift in your scent, and then deliberately deploying a set of behaviors evolved over tens of thousands of years for one purpose: to keep the bond intact. That's not guilt. That's repair. And here's the part I want you to take with you. If those signals ever escalate, if the appeasement turns into freezing, a hard stare, a stiff body, or that whale eye, stop. Back off. Give space. Because at that point, the dog has run out of polite ways to ask. Your dog has been talking to you this whole time. The only real question is whether you've been listening.